Welcome to the Wedding Chaplain Podcast. My name is David Anderson, and I'm so glad that you're joining me for today's episode. This podcast is designed especially for engaged couples who are preparing for marriage in the months ahead. We also love connecting with couples who are already married, whether you're newlyweds or have been married for a few years, and really with anyone who wants to grow stronger at any stage of their relationship or their marriage. If you would like to learn more about our resources or our work as wedding officiants and guides for engaged and married couples, you can visit us anytime at weddingchaplain.com. Well, my guests today are Jay and Laura Laffoon. They describe themselves as marriage edu-tainers. They're a blend of education and entertainment, and that description fits them perfectly. Jay and Laura have been happily married for more than 35 years, and their passion is helping busy couples stay happily married for life. In our conversation today, Jay and Laura will share a little bit about their story and the work that they do. We talk about the difference between a marriage coach and a marriage counselor, and they tell me about their annual Mackinac Island event called Celebrate Your Marriage. We also dive into their book, The Ultimate Date Night, and why dating matters long after wedding day, one of the things I'm passionate about. Finally, they offer some of their best advice for couples who are getting married in the next few months. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation, so let's jump right in. Well, I am so excited today to have our guests, Jay and Laura Laffoon, and they are marriage coaches, and they have a ministry called Celebrate Your Marriage, and I've invited them to come on today and tell us a little bit about who they are, what they do. And we want to talk a little bit about dating and why that is important in your relationship and a number of other things. But I'm just so excited to have both of them on today. So how are you guys doing?
We're doing good. A little chilly, but
it is a little chilly. Yes. In full context, we were recording this in the winter of 26, which will go down in infamy. It's been terrible. Snow upon snow upon snow. So, and they're in the only spot colder I'm in Ohio, and they're in Michigan. They're in the only spot colder than I am right now. So you guys are good. You're doing well. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, we have been married a really good amount of time.
Good.
Yes, we don't say how many because that makes
us sound old.
Yes.
It's seasoned. You're experts.
Yes, we are seasoned marriage people.
Yes. We met on a blind date.
Okay.
To an Atlanta Braves baseball game.
Oh, man. Okay. Very good.
And the very next morning, we had both just graduated college. She had moved back with her mom to work a job in the summer there in Atlanta. And so the morning after our blind date, she told her mother that she was going to marry me.
Wow.
And 10 days later, I asked her to marry me.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So
if we talk about pre-engagement or any of that stuff,
right.
You might want to someplace else.
Generally, that's a fast. So just don't write that one down, kids. That one's not, that's not the model.
In full disclosure, he did ask me 10 days later, and that was so we met on July 4th. He asked me around July 14th. And my mother said, you can't get married any earlier than December. So, we did have an engagement period. We didn't go the next day. So,
all right. Very good. Very good. All right. So all right.
The really strange part, for those 5 months, I lived with her mother.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
He was homeless in Atlanta, so she let him live there.
The job I moved down there for became non-existent. And she was like, well, you can come stay here if you clean the house and cook for me.
Wow.
Little house. Yep.
So how did you propose? How you come up with a proposal in 10 days? How did you ask her?
This is good. This is a good story. So there's kind of like two proposals, just so you're aware. So we met on July 4th at Atlanta Braves baseball game. That was a Wednesday night. That following weekend, my best friend and I were headed to our alma mater in Montreat, North Carolina for a weekend. In the mountains of North Carolina, hey, and I said, he's a Michigan boy. He was in Atlanta. So I said, hey, would you like to go to Montreat with us this weekend? And, we're going to the mountains. We'll show you North Carolina. You've never been here, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, sure. So, but before he would go, we had to have a conversation, the two of us.
No, I had to have a conversation.
Yes, saying, I really like you. I'm attracted to you, blah, 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 blah,
I said, I can't go with you this weekend unless I tell you that I'm very attracted to you.
Actually,
okay.
I have the dates wrong. It was July 4th, which is a Wednesday. This is the following weekend. So this is like almost 10 days later.
Okay.
So we head to the mountains of North Carolina, and he and I were up late one night talking. We had two cabins, one for me and my friend, one for Jay, but we were up talking one night, and he just kind of said, I knew that his real passion at this point was to go into the Christian music business. Mm-hmm. And we were talking, and he said, so if I had $1 million and a record deal, would you marry me? And I said, sure. He said, what if I just had a record deal? Sure. What if I only had the $1 million? Sure. What if I didn't have any of it? Sure.
Wow.
So in his mind, I just said, yes, I'll marry you.
Oh my. Wow.
No ring.
No ring, no nothing. So it was one of those. So I just said, yes, I would marry you. Are we engaged? It was one of those. So we had another conversation. Yes, I was serious. Yes, I was serious, blah, blah, blah. So
my parents called shortly thereafter, and they were like, Jay, we've got some news for you. And I said, well, I've got some news for you.
Oh my.
He'd only been in Atlanta for 10 days. I mean, he moved to Atlanta like July 1st. We met July 4th. So we're talking his parents.
Okay.
He has found a psychiatrist.
Yes.
And so that was around July 14th. So then in August.
No, my parents had a life insurance policy on me. I'm like, well, I don't need a life insurance policy. They said, well, then you can cash it in and you'll get about $2,000. Well, back in 1984.
That's big money.
That was nice ring money.
Yeah.
And, so unbeknownst to her, I went and got a ring. She didn't think I had any money. Mm-hmm. I went and got a ring. And then we went out to Colorado to work at a camp for a week, a high adventure camp. Mm-hmm. And on top of a mountain at the foot of a cross, I popped out the ring, and she still said yes.
Now,
again,
the fun part of the story is this. We had driven from Atlanta, Georgia to the mountains of Colorado, 24 hours straight. You're talking about going into high altitude. Yeah. Then we climbed the mountain where he wanted to propose. And when he proposed, I did say yes, but I also proceeded to puke all over him from altitude sickness. So there's that part of the story.
Well, that's sealed the deal. Yeah.
So there you go. That's the engagement story.
And
so we've been married for some number of years.
We've been married 42 years.
42 years. Congratulations. How many children?
We have two. We have a son who's 35 and has given us two granddaughters.
Very good.
And a daughter who's 28.
Very good. Congratulations. Fabulous. Fabulous. Do your kids listen to all your marriage advice?
No. Not a chance. No, okay, funny story. I mean, full disclosure to your audience, our son, his wife divorced him. And our daughter is gay. So we're
so no, they don't listen to our marriage.
They don't listen to anything.
No, our son did, and the divorce was not his choice.
Yeah.
But they, when they were growing up, they listened to all of our, they went to all of our conferences and they went everywhere with us. And, they would call us on the carpet. I'll tell you this story. So they didn't listen for their own self. But when our daughter was 18, she was a senior in high school, and Jay and I had a habit that every year on our anniversary, which was in December, that we would go away for a night or a weekend. And her senior year in high school, we decided not to go anywhere for our anniversary because we wanted to save that money for her graduation. Mm-hmm. And it's our anniversary weekend, and we made some comment, and it dawned on her that it was our anniversary and we were home. She really lit us up one side and down the other. You call yourselves the marriage people, and you're not practicing what you preach about. So they did listen, but not for themselves.
Right. Interesting. That's fabulous. Okay. You guys you would call yourself marriage coaches, correct?
Technically, we're marriage edu-tainers. We educate entertainment.
But coaching is what we do.
Coaching is definitely a part of what we do, but we do shows, and we call them shows because they're filled with comedy and music and marital truth sprinkled in. It's not your typical marriage event. And we started doing that because we didn't want to go to a typical marriage event ourselves. Right. So we're like, okay, well, let's do something that we would enjoy. And
it's why our organization is called Celebrate Your Marriage. We want to encourage people to celebrate their marriage. We all know the 85 million things that we're doing wrong.
Right.
How do we celebrate the good? How do we celebrate the joys? How do we celebrate this marriage? And so that really is kind of the philosophy behind what we do, whether it's our date nights, our marriage conferences, our coaching, all of that is all built around that philosophy of let's celebrate what God's brought together.
We're not going to tell you the stuff you're doing wrong. We're going to give you tools to make what you've got better.
Good.
And most people resonate with that because, like Laura said, they know what they're doing wrong. It's just one of those things that we have a different spin on it. And that spin is to say, no, what you've got is worth celebrating. And here is how to do so.
Right. What, all right. So it's interesting you say that because, a lot of times if you say, hey, we're going on a marriage retreat, a marriage weekend, or we're going to a marriage professional on any level, I mean, there's a negative connotation to that you need to work on your relationship.
Right.
Like you need to go work on this garden. It's, you need to go work on your car. It's terrible. Where would you fit in terms of that, like the coach counselor role? I mean, do you guys have anybody that you sort of work with one-on-one or two-on-two, or is it just primarily what you're doing at these shows, sharing the principles and that kind of thing? Or
it's all of the above. Our shows keep us on the road. We leave Tuesday and we are gone until
Sunday.
After Easter. That's what I was going to say. Every weekend with our shows and our retreats, and coaching is done couple to couple. We do, but we also have coaching available on our website that is you do at your own pace, online, on demand.
Okay.
It's the same program. You're just not getting you're not getting Jay and Laura on a Zoom call. But yes, when you talked about the garden and the car and go fix, I would say where our programs land is in the maintenance of the car.
Right.
The maintaining of the garden. You can't just go fix your garden. You've got to keep every day. You have to do something in order to make your garden grow. I don't know how often the car, because he handles that, but you've got to keep the maintenance of your car. You have to schedule those. And that's where our programs fall into, whether it's a date night or a retreat or you coaching, it's the maintenance. It's let's keep our marriage in a good place.
Another example is, you make an annual doctor's appointment. You make biannual dentist appointments. Why? Because it's important for your health. And we just tell people, better to spend some money going to a retreat where you're going to have fun. It's at a romantic place and you're not going to get beat up than to spend that same money on a counselor because you haven't taken the time to maintain your marriage. And
actually, you'll spend more money on a counselor.
Right. That's what
you will spend more money. Yeah.
Most people just don't understand that if you don't spend it staying maintained, you're going to spend it another way, and it's not going to be as fun. Right.
No, the dirty underbelly of counseling is, the success rates are terrible. They're just terrible. It's somewhere around 20 to 30% of couples that finally get to a point where they say, hey, we need to go to marriage counseling, find success. By the time you've hit that point,
right.
You don't want to say it's too late because we're hopeful people, but it's hard. It's hard.
We do the difference between counseling and coaching. Counseling deals with the past. It deals with things that you did not do well in the past, whereas coaching deals with the present and the future.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, we're going to give you tools today to help make your future better. And that's why we coach.
Just currently we're coaching a couple from out east, and they're a couple that's been married the same amount of years that we have been, 42 years. Mm-hmm. And, at first I was like, well, what do you guys want coaching for? Right. Out yet. And it's because they're moving into a different phase of life. Mm-hmm. We're moving into retirement. We have grandchildren, and we want to make sure we maintain this relationship through that. So we customize those tools while there is
general
principles, they need to be customized with every phase of life. So whether you are you're premarital, you're not married yet, those principles remain the same as for a couple who's been married 40, 50 years, but they're going to be customizable for your stage of your relationship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, and I would say you probably need to find some folks, whether it's a professional arrangement or not, or resources. But, if you have kids, if you have small kids, you need somebody who's got kids in elementary or high school. If you've got kids in high school, you need to be talking to the folks who, they're empty nesters, and we've just seen everybody leave and graduate and all that. So to have somebody a few steps ahead is incredibly important.
We're blessed. Our best friends are 15 years older than us. And they've been down the road. They've been through things that, they help us walk through things. And, it's just,
we get together with them every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday. We have what we call therapy.
Therapy time, good.
And it's just, we get together, we share food, we have a good time, and we just talk about life. And it can be that easy. It does, when you talk about counseling and the success rate, I think a lot of time, even though they agree together to go to counseling, 9 times out of 10, one of them's already checked out. I'm going to go.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As a last ditch effort, but I'm going with my arms crossed, and I'm not really wanting to do this.
So we can tell people we tried everything.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a lot of times counseling is simply, it's just an adjudication of the past.
Right.
And to make sure that the blame is properly placed on the other person. And therefore, I'm not sticking around.
Right.
I need a third party to agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, then I'm going to fire you and go find another coach.
Right.
Or counselor. So, but yeah, no, this is all way down the line. So we are all, a little bit further down the line. But this podcast is for engaged couples. It's designed for those that are, they've just popped the question, whether they've known each other for 10 days or 2 years or whatever. They're getting ready to get married. And I guess, one of the things that I'd love for you guys to just sort of speak to and take as much time or real estate as you need. What would you say to a couple, so we've had a lot of conversations with married couples. You're looking at a couple, they're in your house, they're at your kitchen table, they're at an event, they're 25, 27, 29, 30, they're getting ready to get married. What would be some of the things that you would want to say to a couple like that? What would be the one or two big ideas that you would want to make sure before you guys go anywhere, before you do anything, before you get too far down the road or get into bad habits? What would be some of the stuff that you would want to say to an engaged couple? So we're coming to the sages here. Whether you guys are at the top of the, you're in the cave on top of the mountain. We're seeking wisdom from on high. What would be the things that you guys would want to say to an engaged couple?
And this may sound trite, but it's huge. Keep laughter in your relationship. Mm-hmm. You've got to keep humor in your relationship. There's an ancient proverb that says, laughter doeth like good medicine. And we understand that in our marriage, that we can laugh together. And there's something, and I don't say this in a sexual way, but there's something incredibly attractive that you're drawn towards people when you laugh together. And when you laugh with your spouse, you are drawn towards that person. And it's just an amazing process that, nothing we want more than to know that our spouse is happy. And when they're laughing.
Some of the things that I would say to them, remind them, give them tools possibly, is first of all, don't think that when you stand at the altar, everything's going to change. So whatever habits you want in your marriage going forward, and that would be a conversation you need to have. Here's what, we want to have dinner together. We want to have sex this amount of time. We want to have this many kids. Have those conversations before you ever step up to the altar. Right. We've seen a lot of couples that didn't have those conversations, and then they got 2 years down the road and they were like, well, you never said that. You never said that's what you wanted. You never said you wanted 10 children.
Right.
So don't think so. We're big proponents of operating as a team. Everything goes into one pot. We have one checkbook. We have one bank account. We have one
I haven't seen it in decades, but we have one. Yeah.
But
he's so surprised. We have a checkbook. Where is this checkbook?
Have those conversations beforehand. Do that beforehand. We did, and we did that mostly because Laura was not a good financial person. So we did that before we ever got married. We operated as if we were married before we ever stood at the altar in most ways.
That's good. That's real good.
And this isn't going to sound very encouraging, but I find that a lot of couples, you're engaged. There's all the ooey gooey, lovey dovey. The wedding is coming, blah, blah, blah. The wedding is just an event.
It is.
The marriage is a journey, and it takes a lot of hard work.
Absolutely.
And if you're not willing to do the work, then don't step up to the altar and say, I do.
Absolutely.
And you're going to disagree about three main issues. Money, sex, and family. Because those are the issues where we all come into the wedding with certain expectations as it pertains to all of that. For example, I'm a saver. She's a spender when it comes to money. When it came to our sex life, I thought once I got married, and I'm just trying to be as honest I'd have sex all the time. I mean, come on. Absolutely. Isn't that what you do? And she was born and raised in the genteel South. And, her mom never even had the sex talk with her. So this was all new to her. So we had a lot of things to work through. So money and then family. You could grow up across the street from each other. You still come from two different families.
Absolutely.
Two different families of origin. And the way you were raised, the way you want to raise your kids. Talk all that through. And generally speaking, one of you is going to want to talk more than the other. In fact, in some instances, one doesn't want to talk at all. But you've got to talk these things through, because that's the only way you're going to navigate, is if you have clear communication and clear expectations. A
lot of couples that we have done premarital counseling with, we like to call it premarital coaching, because counseling, like you said, has such a connotation of there's something wrong with us. Read books. There's tons of marriage books out there, and, make it a date night. Once a week, we're going to have read this chapter, and we're going to sit down, we're going to have dinner, and we're going to talk about the chapter. That way you begin that's one way you begin the habit of having conversation all the time. Because what does happen is you're in this bubble when you're engaged, and then you step up to the altar, and the next day you're married, and you thought things would change, but what happens is life happens. You've both got jobs, and then your kids come, and life gets kind of sucked out of that bubble that was over here. Now it's like you're 10 years down the road, and this is not what I thought it was going to be. And that's because you don't start those habits before. And, something very simple, I said, read books, but, also do like a personality test. That way you kind of know where each other is, where they're coming.
You know what you're getting in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Jay's very much a type A driven person. I am more laid back, much more.
No. She's extremely more laid back.
But that's, we've done tons of personality tests over the years and read lots of books about, like the birth order and where you fall in your birth order. Jay's a firstborn, therefore he's bossy. I'm a middle child, therefore I'm a peacemaker.
Right.
And, all those kinds of things. And
peacemaker, troublemaker. What?
Right.
But
middle child, it's not my fault. It's either the oldest or the youngest. It's not my fault. It's not the middle child's fault. I'm just here to let you all know what the truth is. It's not so.
But yeah, I mean, sit down and don't just assume that things are going to magically happen. You've got to have conversations. You got to talk about it. You got to plan. You do all that for your careers. I want to go to this school. I want to get this degree. And when I get out of this, I want to get this job. And do that for your marriage. Here's what we'd love for it to look like. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but at least you have written out. And that's one thing we do in our coaching is the purpose of our coaching is to have a couple walk away with a mission statement for their marriage. No matter how long they've been married or they're not married, we're engaged. We want you to walk away with saying, here's where we want to go and here's what we want to be about. And here is how we're going to make that happen.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many couples, you got so much stuff you have to work through during engagement. And you really do have to sort of step on the idea, like the mission is not to get married. That's not the mission. We just got to get to the ceremony. No, that's really not
right.
There's a story afterwards. I mean, there's that mission of getting to know each other, growing together, that whole thing. That's the mission. So, but you mentioned habits, and so I actually have here. This is a copy of your book that you guys wrote, The Ultimate Date Night. 52 amazing dates for busy couples. And how many books have you guys written?
About a dozen.
That's so. This one's my favorite so far. Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about dating. I spend a lot of time, emphasizing dating. You have to have a date night. You have to have a date night. I do a whole thing called the date challenge when I'm with my couples. I have 4 rules. I say you have to go on a date once a week. When you're engaged, the rule number 2 is no wedding talk. So you have to go on a date, but you can't talk about the wedding. Cannot talk about the event. After you get married, you can change that rule to whatever.
Kids, the rule is you can't talk about the kids.
Mm-hmm. Can't talk about the kids. So rule number 3 is you have to alternate who plans date night. So I'm in charge this week. You're in charge next week. So it's not always on the guy, because most guys, we only have 3 good dates and we're done. And we try to recycle those and see if they work. And then the 4th rule is you have to ask the question. The question is, will you go out with me? You have to ask the question. You can't just assume we're going out. You have to actually ask the question. That whole thought it comes out of that's all we look for in the movies, and even what you guys are saying about purpose, in every romantic movie, every romantic comedy, even bad romantic comedies, there's just a few elements. One, they're cute. You kind of know they're going to get together. Somebody asks somebody to do something. Go get coffee, go to dinner, go to the ball. Can I court you if the queen lets us? Whatever. There's a question in there somewhere. And then there's an agreement to do something. But then there's a problem we have to solve. We have to solve this problem. Whatever this problem is. I got to, find the key. You've got to find the map. We got to take care of the X. We have to, whatever the problem is. And that's all the movie is. They got together. Someone asked a question, but then there's a solution they have to find. And that's everything, whether they're saving the Christmas tree farm or whatever. But so date night is an incredible part of that process. And so I make everybody, you have to ask this question because we love the question. If you have a movie and they don't have the question, it's a very bad movie, so those are my rules. But just talk a little bit about dates. Why is that important? Why was it important for you guys to sort of put that down in a book? All of that.
Well, I'll kind of give you an overview and then we can talk more specific, but we were actually just outside of Greenville, Ohio in this, significantly rural area. Mm-hmm. And I know where Greenville is. Yeah. We were performing in the gym cafetorium. It's the gym and it's the auditorium and it's the cafeteria. And there was this can light that was directly over this older couple. And by older, I mean, they were in their 80s.
We were doing a date night.
Yes, we were doing one of our shows.
Ultimate Date Night show.
And they were they were embarrassing me. Okay. They're in their 80s and they were embarrassing me. But the guy came up afterward and he said, you need to let everyone know what you did to get your spouse is what you need to do to keep your spouse.
Amen. Absolutely.
And I thought that was some of the best advice. You dated, you courted, and guys, you took showers. Okay. I mean, it's stuff like that, you know.
And I know your audience is predominantly engaged, and it's easy right now in this stage. 'Cause what got you here was dating. You know, you dated each other. Now you've decided we want to spend our lives together, and you're still dating because you're still in that bubble. And,
absolutely. But
then what happens is you get married and you forget, you know, we're married. Why do we need to do that? Why do we? And it's that maintenance. You've got to maintain that relationship. You got to have conversation. You've got to have fun together. You got to have time spent. And so that's the whole purpose of dating, is to continue to maintain the strength of your relationship.
Absolutely.
And the reason we wrote the Ultimate Date Night book was because at our shows, at our conferences, with our coachees, people were always like, but we get so tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again. So we just don't do anything. I get tired of going to a dinner and a movie. I get tired of playing golf. I get tired of so we're like, what if we wrote a book where we came up with a date once a week? Here's something different.
Absolutely.
And we came up, some of those are from our own experience. Some of those are from other couples that have said, hey, here's a really good date that we do. And like one of my favorite in the book is a young couple that has 5 children. And so their automatic response was, we don't have time to date. We don't have time. We don't have
the money to hire our baby.
Or the money. Yeah.
And so what they did was, especially in the middle of summer, they would put the kids to bed. They would pull his pickup truck out into the driveway. They put some lawn chairs in the back of the pickup truck. They would turn on some music. They would get their favorite beverages, and they would sit in the back of the pickup truck and talk and look at the stars. And I was like,
pretty good date.
Costs no money. You're talking to each other. You're looking at each other face to face. You're enjoying some good music. What else could there be? And so the book really has a lot of that, a lot of different types of dates in it. So you don't have to worry about, so whoever's turn it is this week can just turn the page and go, here's what we're doing.
Right. And that's, and it's an important thing. I mean, you get married to spend time together. I mean, that's the point. I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. And then, but it's the amazing thing that couples don't spend time together. Like we think that it's either spending time with you or time served. There's a big difference. Okay. One has a different connotation. Okay. And just because I've been in the house with you for 8 hours today, that means nothing. I mean, we could have gotten a whole lot done, and but there's something different. If we're in the house all day long, we stop at 4:00, get dressed and go to Chili's. There's something about the 2 hours at Chili's that is different. Like we just spent 8 hours together. Like what is the difference? It's just different. It is just different. We're out doing something. And even if you are just doing I wish it was warm enough today that I could go sit in the back of my truck.
Yeah, no doubt.
But no, the safest and most dangerous things for couples is what I call it status and assumption. Okay. Status is like once we define what we are, we always, I want to do that. Well, what are we? Well, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, we're engaged. We're married or whatever. And so you could put that on the door if you want. You can put that on your social media. Or the other one is assumption. Well, I assume if I'm going out on Friday, you're coming with me. And those are great. I've worked very hard to get to those places, but those also put you into complacency. They put you into a place of, I don't have to work for you anymore. And I tell guys all the time, like, listen, there are plenty of pickup lines you have not used. Use them, pull them out. There's a whole drawer of them. You never got a chance to use them. Use them. See if they still work. When you're asking about. Do what?
Those pickup lines just make Laura's eyes roll. She's like,
they do, and that's the point. That is the point. What the old philosopher says: the pickup line is the seed bed for dad jokes. That comes later. So, but. So,
we have a jar.
Just so you know it's coming. Just so you know it's coming. It comes later. It comes later.
We have a jar in our house for bad dad jokes. He has to put money in every time he tells a bad one.
It's good.
I'm going to pay off my mortgage.
We should all be wealthy men by then. So
Exactly.
Every Sunday I start with a series of bad dad jokes. I call them pastor jokes, but they're bad. And so yeah. But now if I don't use them, people get upset. Like, where was the dad joke at? So, okay. So we're going to put some links to some of your resources in the show notes and all that, and so people could get a copy of this book and some of your other books as well. You've been doing this for a long time, and I know the kinds of experiences that I've had. Most of the time, I always tell couples, if I remember your wedding, then something went wrong. Like if I don't remember your wedding, that's good. That is a good thing, because nothing was memorable, which is what you want. So the ones that I remember are usually the ones that become the greatest stories. And so out of the years that you guys have been doing this, you have to have at least one or two couples, stories, events, something you've worked with that you would say, these will go down in infamy or hilarity, whatever. But is there any story you'd like to share with us as we start to bring it to a close?
That involves another couple, like a couple that
it can be just you guys. You can do whatever you want.
Okay. You do yours. You do yours.
Yes, I was privileged to officiate a destination wedding in Key West.
Wow.
Yes. And so fortunate that in January we had to do a setup trip, and then in May was the actual wedding. So we were down there twice.
I want all my couples to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we know the family well. Great friends with all the family. I officiated. There's 3 siblings. I officiated all 3 of their weddings, and we're down in Key West. And the kids were all going out to hit the bars at night. Mm-hmm. We're like, kids, you go have fun. We're going to stay here at the hotel. And one night they were like, come on, you got to go. You got to have some fun.
It was like the whole wedding party, and it was the siblings. And they were all, 20-somethings, late 20-somethings.
So a little backstory. There is one word in the English language that my wife despises. Okay. And it rhymes with truck.
Okay. She
just absolutely hates it. And I just said to my buddy, play a lot of golf with him, but he's younger. I said, he
was the best man.
He was the best man in the wedding. I said, well, we will come out, but you got to understand if things get raunchy.
Because we're in Key West. We know it's going to happen.
Right. We're in Key West. I love my wife too much to put her through that. And he's like, okay, that's a deal. We're literally walking in the first bar. And I did not know this, but there is a truck song where the only word uttered throughout the whole song is that word. And as we're walking in, my friend was in front of us. He heard the song. He turned around and he just waved. We'll see you tomorrow, Jay. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So it was one of those things where it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. We've had lots of couples that have come to our conferences and, have sent us emails afterwards. The one that sticks out in my mind is not a funny, but it's a hopeful. Mm-hmm. The husband agreed to come to the conference because the wife's parents had paid for it. He was ready to file divorce papers. He had the papers ready, but this was his, I'll go because your parents have paid for it. This is my last thing. Mm-hmm. And after he wrote us this afterwards and said he was sitting I think they were in the second or third row, which he wasn't happy about because now they're up close and we're at a marriage conference. Mm-hmm. And after about 15 minutes, he reached over and grabbed her hand. And he said, I came away from the weekend saying, you know what? We're going to do the hard work. We're going to do it because it's worth
good.
And so
very good.
That's a hopeful one. I can't think of any. I mean, there's too much funny we could talk forever of
I'm sure
things that have happened.
Things we found in our hotel room that you have to go.
My.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Somebody had some fun in some hotel rooms.
Yes.
So
well, listen, this has been great. Where can people find you? Where's the best place to direct folks? Website, social media? Where's the best place for people to come find you?
Our website is jayandlaura.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find all of our socials there where you can link up. But we are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're on all those fun things. Jay and Laura Laffoon on Facebook, Jay and Laura Laffoon on Instagram. But those are all linked up on our website, jayandlaura.com.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'll put that link in the show notes. Well, guys, thank you so much. This has just been an incredible conversation, and it's hopeful for couples to know. Obviously, there's some stuff you have to do at the beginning in this process, but there are resources out there once you're married, whether you've been married for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and beyond, that there is always a place in this journey, that there are going to be people that can help you. And hopefully if anybody needs you, that they will use this podcast to come find us or come find you and keep going along their journey. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Thank you so much.